If you are an immigrant living in the United States and you ever find yourself face to face with an ICE officer, there are exactly 3 words you need to say before anything else. 3 words that activate your constitutional protections and can fundamentally change the outcome of that encounter. These 3 words are so powerful that ICE officers are trained to expect them, and once you say them, the entire dynamic of the interaction shifts in your favor. My name is James. I have been a senior U.S. immigration professional for 6 years, and through Immigration News Today, I have dedicated my career to making sure immigrants know and can exercise the rights that the Constitution guarantees to every single person on American soil. Stay with me until the very end of this video, because what I share today is not just information, it is protection. Protection for you, for your family, and for your future in this country. Let me begin by speaking directly to what I know many of you are feeling right now. Living as an immigrant in the United States in 2026 comes with a unique kind of anxiety. You may have heard about increased enforcement operations. You may have seen news reports about workplace raids or neighborhood sweeps. You may have friends or family members who have had encounters with immigration officers. And underneath all of that, there is this constant low-level fear. The fear that one day it could be you. I want you to know that I understand that fear. I talk to people every day who live with it, but I also want you to know this. Fear without knowledge leaves you vulnerable, but knowledge transforms fear into power. And today, I am going to give you the knowledge you need to protect yourself. As of date, the constitutional rights I am about to explain remain fully in effect. These are not privileges that can be revoked by executive order or policy memo. They are constitutional protections that have been affirmed repeatedly by the Supreme Court and apply to every person physically present in the United States, regardless of immigration status. This includes U.S. citizens, green card holders, visa holders, DACA recipients, asylum seekers, and yes, even undocumented individuals. The Constitution does not distinguish between citizens and non-citizens when it comes to fundamental rights like the right to remain silent, the right to be free from unreasonable searches, and the right to legal counsel. These rights belong to you simply because you are here. So what are the 3 words you need to say before you talk to ICE? The 3 words are, I want attorney. That is it. 3 simple words. I want attorney. When you say these words clearly and calmly, you are invoking your constitutional right to legal counsel, and you are putting the officer on notice that you understand your rights and intend to exercise them. Once you have requested an attorney, you should not answer any questions about your immigration status, your country of origin, how you entered the United States, or anything else that could be used against you. You have the right to remain silent, and you should exercise that right until you have spoken with a lawyer. Now, let me explain why these 3 words are so powerful and what happens legally when you say them. The right to an attorney in the immigration context is grounded in both constitutional protections and established case law. While the 6th Amendment right to counsel technically applies to criminal proceedings, federal courts have recognized that individuals in immigration proceedings have a 5th Amendment due process right that includes access to counsel at their own expense. More importantly, when you request an attorney, you are signaling to the officer that you are not going to make uninformed statements that could harm your case. You are exercising your right to remain silent until you have proper legal guidance. And you are creating a record, both in the officer's notes and potentially on body camera or other recording devices, that you asserted your rights from the very beginning. I want to walk you through exactly what this looks like in a real-world scenario. Imagine you are at home on a weekday morning. There is a knock at your door. You look through the peephole and see 2 individuals who identify themselves as immigration officers. What do? First and most importantly, do not open the door. You are under no legal obligation to open your door to anyone unless they have a judicial warrant. Not an ICE administrative warrant, but a warrant signed by a federal judge. You can speak to them through the closed door. You can say, I want attorney. I am not opening the door unless you have a warrant signed by a judge. Please slide any paperwork under the door. If they have an administrative warrant, which will say Department of Homeland Security at the top rather than United States District Court, that warrant does not give them the right to enter your home without your consent. Only a judicial warrant does. But what if they claim to have a judicial warrant? Ask them to slide it under the door or hold it up to the window. Look at the top of the document. A judicial warrant will clearly state United States District Court and will be signed by a federal judge. It will also specify your name and address. If all of those elements are present, the officers may have the legal authority to enter. But even then, you should say, I want attorney. I am not answering any questions until I speak with a lawyer. And then remain silent. Now let me address a different scenario that many people face. Being stopped on the street, at your workplace, or in another public place. In these situations, you cannot simply close a door and refuse to engage. But you still have rights. The first thing you should do is ask, am I free to leave? If the officer says yes, walk away calmly and do not look back. If the officer says no, or does not give you a clear answer, then you are being detained. At that point, you should say clearly, I want attorney. I am exercising my right to remain silent. Then stop talking. Do not argue. Do not try to explain your situation. Do not answer questions about where you were born, how long you have been here, or what your immigration status is. Simply remain silent and wait. I know what some of you are thinking. But James, won't refusing to answer questions make things worse? Won't the officers get angry? Won't I look guilty? Let me address this directly. No. Exercising your constitutional rights cannot legally be used against you. Officers are trained to expect that some people will invoke their rights, and doing so is not evidence of guilt or wrongdoing. In fact, the opposite is true. People who try to talk their way out of situations often make things worse by inadvertently revealing information that can be used against them. I have seen countless cases where individuals thought they could explain their situation and end up providing exactly the evidence ICE needed to build a case for removal. Silence protects you. An attorney protects you. Talking without legal advice is almost always a mistake. Let me share a real story that illustrates this perfectly. A few years ago, I worked with a man named Eduardo who was stopped by ICE officers near his workplace. Eduardo had been in the United States for 12 years and had a pending asylum case. When the officers approached him, Eduardo panicked and tried to explain his situation. He told them he had entered the country without documents many years ago, thinking this would help them understand his story. Instead, that admission became evidence in his removal proceedings. Eduardo spent 8 months in detention before his case was resolved, and his attorney told me that if Eduardo had simply said, I want attorney, and remained silent, the outcome might have been very different. Eduardo's story is not unique. I have heard versions of it hundreds of times. Please learn from these experiences so you do not have to go through the same thing. Now, I want to talk about some updates that are particularly relevant in 2026. Over the past year, there have been significant changes in how ICE conducts enforcement operations, and understanding these changes can help you be better prepared. According to recent policy guidance from the Department of Homeland Security, enforcement priorities have expanded, and operations in communities, workplaces, and near sensitive locations have increased in frequency. While the sensitive locations policy, which limits enforcement at schools, hospitals, places of worship, and similar locations, technically remains in effect, there have been documented instances of operations near these locations. This means that while you may feel somewhat safer in certain places, you should be prepared to exercise your rights anywhere. Additionally, ICE has significantly expanded its use of technology for identification and tracking purposes. This includes facial recognition, license plate readers, and data sharing with local law enforcement agencies. What this means for you is that an encounter with local police for something as minor as a traffic stop could potentially lead to ICE involvement if information is shared. This is why it is so important to know your rights and be prepared to invoke them in any encounter with law enforcement, not just with ICE specifically. Let me give you some concrete steps you can take right now, today, to prepare yourself and protect your family. First, memorize the 3 words. I want attorney. Practice saying them calmly and clearly. Teach them to every adult member of your household. Second, create or obtain a Know Your Rights card. This is a small card you can carry with you that lists your rights and the key phrases to use in an encounter with immigration officers. Many immigrant rights organizations provide these cards for free, and having a physical card can help you remember what to say in a stressful situation. Third, identify an immigration attorney now, before you ever need one. Keep their phone number saved in your phone and written down in a place your family can access. Many attorneys offer free or low-cost initial consultations. Having a relationship with an attorney means you have someone to call immediately if you are ever detained. Fourth, create a family emergency plan. Sit down with your loved ones and discuss what each person should do if someone in the family is detained. Who will care for the children? Who has access to important documents? Who will contact the attorney? Having these conversations now when things are calm means you will not be scrambling to figure things out during a crisis. Fifth, gather and secure important documents. This includes passports, birth certificates, immigration documents, proof of relationships with U.S. citizen family members, medical records, and contact information for attorneys and trusted community organizations. Keep originals in a secure location that a trusted person can access, and carry copies with you. Sixth, know your local resources. Many communities have rapid response networks that can deploy legal observers and attorneys when ICE operations are reported. Know the phone numbers for these organizations in your area. Some cities and counties have policies limiting cooperation between local police and ICE. Know whether you live in one of these jurisdictions and what that means for your rights. I also want to address something that comes up frequently in my conversations with immigrants, and that is the fear that exercising your rights will result in retaliation or harsher treatment. I understand why people worry about this, but I want to be very clear. Asserting your constitutional rights is legal, it is protected, and it is expected. Officers are trained to deal with people who invoke their rights. While individual officers may react differently, the law is on your side. And more importantly, the alternative, speaking without an attorney, consenting to searches, signing documents you do not understand, carries far greater risks. The short-term discomfort of asserting your rights is nothing compared to the long-term consequences of waiving them. Let me address one more critical point. What to do if you are arrested and taken into custody. First, continue to invoke your rights. Say, I want attorney again and again if necessary. Do not answer questions about your immigration status. Do not sign any documents without first consulting with an attorney. ICE officers may present you with forms that look routine, but that could waive important rights, such as your right to a hearing before an immigration judge. Signing these forms could eliminate your ability to fight your case. Even if an officer tells you that signing will help you get released faster, do not sign anything until a lawyer has reviewed it. Second, you have the right to make a phone call. Use it to contact a family member who can then contact an attorney on your behalf. Third, remember that in most cases, you have the right to a hearing before an immigration judge. Do not give up this right without legal advice. As we come to the end of this video, I want to leave you with a message of empowerment. Yes, the immigration enforcement landscape in 2026 is challenging. Yes, there are real risks that immigrants face every day. But you are not powerless. You have rights, you have protections, and now you have the knowledge to use them. 3 words, I want attorney, can change everything. Say them early, say them clearly, say them every time. If this video helped you understand your rights when facing ICE, please like it, share it with every immigrant you know, and subscribe to Immigration News Today with notifications turned on. I am committed to bringing you accurate, life-protecting information every single day, and your support helps this channel reach more people who need this knowledge. Before I go, my standard disclaimer: everything I have shared today is for general informational purposes only. It is not legal advice. Your individual situation may have unique factors that require professional evaluation. Please consult with a qualified immigration attorney for advice specific to your case. Always verify information with official government sources. Policy can change, and the information I provided is accurate as of date. Thank you for trusting me with your safety and your future. You have rights, you have power, and now you have the words to protect yourself. My name is James, and this is Immigration News Today. Stay safe, stay informed, and I will see you in the next video. Take care of yourself and take care of each other.